One of the most iconic pieces of armor in the Middle Ages, the Great Helm, or the Crusader helmet, was used by knights all over medieval Europe. From the Templar Knights to the Hospitallers to the Teutonic Knights, it is a simple design for a helmet, a cylinder with two slits for the eyes to see through. More importantly, the helmet protected you from incoming projectiles and swords swinging towards your face when you were in the midst of battle. Yet, back when crusading was at its peak, the helmet was still an intimidating sight to see. Whether you were a peasant or an enemy to the Crusaders, the sight of a heavily armored brute wearing an expressionless helmet charging towards you with a sword, shouting Dia's Wort, would make you shake down to your boots, begging for mercy. The Great Helm first evolved from a previous helmet known as a nasal helmet, which had been produced in a flat-topped variant with a square profile by 1180. Through time, however, the nasal helmet's design slowly changed from its pointier design to a more flat-top design, which would later inspire the infamous Great Helm the Crusaders would soon use. As the 12th century approached, knights realized that facial protection was more essential to uniform. Instead of a simple nasal bar, steel or iron plates were often attached to the front of the helmet that were shaped to cover most of the face. By 1240, most knights truly started to use the standard Great Helm, a barrel-shaped helmet that would soon be the iconic helmet we see today. Despite its intimidating and overall cool design, the Great Helm was actually one of the most uncomfortable pieces of armor a knight could wear, let alone fight in battle with it. Great helms were usually held on the head with a chin strap, similar to those on bicycle or motorcycle helmets. This wasn't new to great helmets, however, as Norman-style helmets secured the wearer's head in a similar manner. To keep the helmet firmly in place on the head and adjusted so the wearer could see through the eye slit, a band of leather was often riveted to the inside. Triangular gussets from the band would be drawn and laced together at the center, allowing some adjustability and a customized fit. Some brasses and effigies also show a padded ring being worn over the mail coif to further stabilize the helmet. Some helmets also had padded liners, much like a sock for the head without a cutout hole for the face. This sleeve would then be laced to the inside of the helmet. Many great helms were also pierced near the lower edge and front with cross-shaped holes. While providing decoration and an obvious symbol of piety, they often served a more utilitarian purpose. A cuirass would be threaded through the helmet should it slip off the wearer's head. Although the Great Helm offered vastly superior protection from the nasal helmets, it limited the wearer's peripheral vision, and due to its heaviness, it provided little ventilation and could quickly overheat the wearer in hot weather. Depending on what faction was wearing the Great Helm, knights in that specific order would decorate their helmets for clear identification. Templar knights would decorate their helmets with crosses or symbols in order to represent their Christian faith when they fought in battle. These helmets were always of a silver color to mix with the white robes that had a huge red cross on the chestpiece. Hospitallers and Teutonic knights would have their helmets painted with a huge black cross, covering the entire helmet along with the eye slits. This would match with the black and white uniforms they would wear that would have a black or golden cross on the chestpiece, in contrast to the Templars' red cross. The Teutonic knights would decorate their great helms even further by adding feathers, metal wings, and horns, either to intimidate the enemy or for ceremonial purposes. Eventually, the Great Helm would go out of style for most knights nearing 1350. Another helmet with a design just as iconic would take the Great Helm's place, known as the bassinet. These dog-faced helmets provided a much lighter wear and offered more protection on the neck, but even after the Great Helm became obsolete, the design of the Great Helm would be far from forgotten. The Great Helm today is iconic more than ever thanks to medieval reenactors, Renaissance fairs, and media such as television, movies, and video games. It is the first choice for most live-action role-players if they were to play as a knight or crusader, as you can easily find a modern reenactment version of the Great Helm online for a fair price. Popular video games such as the first Assassin's Creed game had crusaders wearing the iconic Great Helm, and an iconic character in video games known as Solaire of Astoria is known to wear a Great Helm himself. Dark Souls players should know him very well. Overall, the Great Helm is an iconic piece of armor in medieval lore, and its simple design will remain relevant in times to come, whether it be present in a Renaissance fair, movie, or game. Thank you for watching this video and letting me share my love for history to you, and I'll see you on the next one.